So now we are going to discuss about the relationship between the various objects. Let's see. For example, we are having so many objects as of now, which are standard objects given by Salesforce. And along with that, we have discussed about how to create our own custom objects also. Now, let's see those object structures. For example, I want to see the existing object structures. Then how can we see the existing object structure here? Now let's see. So now let's go to that setup menu to verify the object structure. Go to that setup menu. Go to the left panel. In that left panel, you will be having an option called as schema builder. Schema builder. So now by using this schema builder, we can able to represent the object structure on the canvas. And we can see what are the various fields available inside that object and what type of field it is. What is the API name of the field? And which field is mandatory, which field is optional, and whether this object is associated with any other object. If yes, then what is that association? We will see practically here. Now, click on the schema builder. Now it is providing a canvas to you. Okay, it is providing a canvas to you. So now in this canvas, we are having few objects are there. Okay, we are having few objects are there. So these are the objects are available by default. Okay, these are the objects are available by default. So now in the left panel, okay, in the left panel, you will be having all the objects have been populated by the Salesforce. Whatever the standard objects and custom objects are available, everything has been populated over here. And now this is the list box. In this list box, we are having so many options are nothing but so many object names has been populated. Each and every object name will be displayed along with a checkbox, so that if you want to see the structure of this object on the canvas, then you can able to select this checkbox. Whatever the objects has been selected by using these checkboxes, those objects schema or structure will be getting displayed on the canvas. So now this part is the canvas. This part is the canvas where we can able to see that object structure. Now, suppose if you want to see only some specific objects, we can able to clear it out. Nothing but clear all these objects from the canvas by using the clear all, and we can select whatever the objects that you want. Now, so now here I'm removing this. I'm going to be removing all the objects from the canvas. So that click on clear all. All the objects has been removed from that canvas. Now select few objects here. I'm selecting an object called as account, and along with that I'm selecting an object called as contact. We are having the account object, we are having the contact object. So now these two objects are associated with each other, where between this account and the contact there is a link is available. Okay, this is the link. This link represents there is association between these two objects. So now what exactly this link here? It is going to be giving that association. So now from where to where, whenever you are mapping the association between the two objects, then first of all, we have to choose one object as a parent and another object as a child. And we can able to map the association between those two objects. So now it is going to be representing whether these two objects are associated or not. If these are associated, then what kind of association it is? In order to see this color coding notation, we have to use that legend option. Here we have a legend option. In this legend, they have described if the objects has been associated by using that blue color line, it will be representing a lookup relationship. If the objects has been associated with the help of a red color line, it is representing a master detail association. If the fields has been marked with the regular bar symbol, this is a required field. So now it is giving that legend option also to you. By using this legend option, we can able to observe what kind of associations are available. And then, if the association is there, then what is this association? One to one, or one to many, or many to one, or what? So for that, it is giving that indication to you. Now here this indication is available here. Now this is starting only one. Okay, this is starting like as one. Nothing but this is one. Nothing but account is one. When it's reached to the contact, it is having many. This representation is going to be called as one to many association. Nothing but account is one, contacts are many. Nothing but between account and the contact, we're having one to many association. Nothing but one account, multiple contacts. So nothing but one parent, multiple childs. So that account is the parent and the contact is the child. So now between these two objects, there is an association is available. Okay, where one account record can have multiple contact records inside this. One to many association is there between account and the contact. Now, from where to where we have to map this association? Whenever you are mapping the association, always we have to map that association from child to parent, always, not from parent to child. So now, whenever you are going outside or whenever you are going to your relative's home, then they will be indicating you that this person is the son of so and so person. Nothing but they are going to reference you, they are going to be identifying you because of your parents. So based on your parents, they will be identifying you here. So now for that, nothing but they are going to be directly associating you with your parents. Nothing but you are the son of so and so, or you are the wife of so and so. Like that, they are going to be identifying you. So now at that time, whenever if you want to map the associations, always we have to map the association from child to parent always. Now, that's what here, whenever I'm placing that mouse pointer here, whenever I'm placing the mouse pointer, it is giving that indication there is a lookup relationship from contact to account. Nothing but association can be mapped always from child to parent, not from parent to child. Because if you want to map the association, first of all, parent should be there. And then we have to create the child. While creating the child, we can able to map the association from childhood to parent always, not from parent to child. Now, so now by using this schema builder, we can able to map the association between the objects. We can create our own object structure also, everything we can do. Now, let's see here. So now how to create an object by using schema builder, I will show you practically now. Now, so not only observing the structure of that existing object, by using schema builder also we can able to create our own objects. Then how to create an object, now we will see practically. And after that, how to map the association, we will see practically here. Now, I want to create an object here. Okay, I want to create an object. So now I want to create an object with the name some hiring manager. Nothing but a recruiter person. In this object, I want to provide few fields. Why? Because is already I have a position object. Now, whenever we are going to be creating a new position record, this has to be taken care by any of the recruiter to recruit the candidates for that position based on the position details which you have entered. To take care of that position record, we have to assign this position to the hiring manager so that the hiring manager will start recruiting the candidates and he will be keep on updating the status inside that record itself. So that I want to assign this position records to the hiring manager. In order to assign that record to the hiring manager, first of all, hiring manager record should be there. For that, I'm creating a hiring manager object right now. In this hiring manager object, I would like to provide few fields like the name of the person, and then I want to provide the contact number, which is of type F1 field, email ID, which is of a email type, location, which is of type epic list. I want to create a hiring manager object which will be having with those 4 fields. Name field is available ready-madely, which is a standard field. Upon creating that object by default, Salesforce provides this name field as standard, ready-made, and then the remaining 3 fields I want to create inside this. Now, how to create the object, you are aware of that. We're using standard navigation, but now we'll see how to create an object with the schema builder. And what is the difference between creating the object from schema builder, creating the object from the normal navigation? We'll see practically here. Now, I want to create an object right now. Now, in this schema builder, you are having so many options are available. Okay, you have so many options are there. Now, you will be having the 2 tabs are there. One is objects, second one is elements. Okay, in the left panel, we have 2 tabs are there. One is elements tab, second one is objects tab. Now, objects tab is used to display the object structure or the schema on the canvas. And the elements tab is describing the various elements to create your objects, to create your fields, to map the association between those fields. Now, so now what kind of elements are available inside this Salesforce? Now we'll see. When you go to click on that elements tab, it is providing a set of elements. Elements means what? A set of objects. Fields are available to you. Some graphical user interface elements are available inside this, by which we can able to create some objects, we can able to add some fields also. Now it is providing the object representation, nothing but the object notation and the fields notations. And along with that, we are having the checkbox field notation, currency field notation,
There's no
date field notation, everything.
voice.
Yeah, Prem. Everybody is able to hear my voice.
I can hear. I can hear. This is Mohit.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can.
I can hear.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can hear.
Okay.
It's good.
So for whom my voice is not audible?
Cummings. It's not audible to me, so I logged in my and both the laptop and cell phone. In cell phone only I can hear you. In the laptop I cannot. And last 5 minutes I am not able to hear both.
Oh.
Even I was not able to hear your voice for 2 minutes.
Yeah, Firoz, I think somebody raised their voice, and did you stop? Did you take a pause in between? I think there was a pause, and then you talked.
No, it's
Yeah, me too, like that.
absolutely clear. I'm listening through my computer.
Okay. So or else could you please rejoin? Prem, you have logged in 2 times, like as one is from I think mobile one.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. My computer, I could not hear your voice. So yesterday also same problem. Then I logged in my the phone, and both I'm using.
Okay. Now, so now we will see how to create an object in Salesforce. Generally, to create an object in Salesforce, we are going to be using that standard navigation. Like we have to go to that setup menu and then go to the left panel. In that left panel, go to the build menu and click on create option and click on objects and enter the details to create a new object. But it will be a lengthy navigation process to create an object in Salesforce. But now, in a very short time, how to create an object, let's see practically. If we want to create an object, then we can able to use a standard navigation like what we have used as of now. Now we will see in another option how to create an object in Salesforce just by using the drag and drop options. Now let's go to the schema builder. You will be having the left panel. Inside this left panel, you are having the two tabs are there, elements tab and the objects tab. This objects tab is providing all the objects available in Salesforce. It may be standard, it may be custom. If you want to design your own objects, then we have to go with this elements tab. Now it is providing the various elements to design your object and to add the fields inside the object and to map the associations. So now we are going to be defining an object. In order to create an object, it is providing an object element. Just drag and drop this element on that layout wherever you want. Just release the right mouse button. Automatically, it is providing a user interface to you. In this user interface, we have to enter the details to create an object. Now, this user interface you are aware of already, because while creating the object also, the similar kind of user interface is available where we have entered the details about the object which we have created. Now let's see here. Now I'm giving that object label as hiring manager. Yeah.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you. Can you just repeat this part again? I was logged off for a minute.
Okay. So now in order to create a new custom object, just go to that schema builder and go to the elements tab inside this schema builder and then just drag and drop this object element. Now this object element is used to create a new custom object by using schema builder. Just drag and drop wherever you want. Now just release the right mouse button. Automatically it is providing a graphical user interface to you in order to create a new object. Enter the details about the object which you want to create right now. I'm giving the label as hiring manager. You are aware of while creating that object, we have to give the singular label and the plural label. Singular label will be using to create the object and the plural label is used to create the tab for that object. Now, specify the singular label and the plural label. Now the plural label is hiring managers. I'm giving that name as hiring managers. Now description. If you want to give any description about the object, you can provide the description. Now I'm giving the description. This object is used to hold all recruiters details. I'm giving the description of this object is used to hold all recruiter details. Now, you will be having the normal checkboxes here, like as allow reports, allow activities, track field history, all this information. And then you will be having the deployment option. And then here come to this one important notice here that whenever you are trying to be creating a custom object there, you will be having the two checkboxes in the last section. Like one is add a notes and attachment related list along with the record. And the second option is launch a new custom tab wizard after saving your custom object. Now two checkboxes are available while creating that object by using standard navigation, but here we are getting only one checkbox is there. So let's observe this one. Now add notes and attachments related list to that page layout. But we don't have the option to create the tab here. Nothing but what happened, what is the difference that we have observed is whenever if I'm creating the object by using the schema builder, it won't provide any tab ready-madely. We have to create the tab manually here. If it is a standard navigation, there you will be having the checkbox to indicate to the Salesforce, then please provide a tab for my custom object to manage the records inside this. But here we don't have that option. So at that time, we have to create the object first, and then we have to create the tab next. Nothing but tab will not be provided by default whenever you are creating the object with the help of the schema builder. That is one difference that we have observed. Now, so now I'm selecting that notes and attachments related list. Click on save. Automatically, your object will be getting defined. Whatever the 4 fields provided by the Salesforce by default, those 4 fields are visible to you. Now you will be having the name field and the created by field, last modified by field, and the owner field. Now these fields are available to you by default here. Now it is providing those fields to you. Now, but along with that, I want few more fields also. Let's go to these fields here. By default, name field is available right now. Now I want to create the remaining 3 fields. One is the contact number, second one is the email ID, third one is the location. Then how can we create these fields? Let's see. In order to create a contact number field, contact number is a phone type, so that I want a phone type of field. Now here in the left panel, you will be having the field types are available, like as lookup, hierarchy, master detail, checkbox, currency, date, date time, email, number, percent, all the field types are available. Depends upon the type of the field which you want to create, just drag and drop the element on this object. Now I want to create a field which is for the contact number. Contact number is of type a phone number, so that I'm selecting the phone type. Now just a drag and drop on this object here. Now it will be providing the graphical user interface to you to create a new field inside this object. I'm giving that field label as contact number. Now we can specify the field name and you can add some helper text also, whatever you want. Please provide mobile number. So now I want to make this contact number field as required. I'm selecting that required checkbox. Make it save. It is creating that new field inside this object here with the name contact number, which is of type a phone. So now it is providing that object field labels to you. But sometimes here, I don't want the field labels. I want to show that field API name. For each and every field, you will be having the 2 properties that already we have discussed during that fields concept. One is the field label, second one is the field name, if it is a standard. If it is a custom object, for each and every field, you will be having the field label and the API name. These are the 2 properties will be available to you here. Now the field labels are displaying like as the normal text, which will be used to display in the user interface level. And the field name or the API names are going to represent in the column names inside the table. So now I want to create one more field right now. The email field. Just drag and drop that email field on the object. I'm creating that email ID. I'm giving the helper text, provide the valid email ID. Provide the valid email ID. I want to make this field as required.
Because
yeah,
how it is coming? How is it showing like it's a mandatory field?
Which one?
Like the email ID says a mandatory field. Are you selecting it as a mandatory field, or
yes,
how
yes,
it is
yes.
coming up?
Yeah, yes, yes. Here I'm selecting the required checkbox.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Okay, I'm making.
If you uncheck it, then okay, got it. Thank you.
Now, select the required checkbox so that it will be making that field as a mandatory field. Now, because in order to contact that hiring manager, I want the email ID and I want that contact number. Next, I want to provide a location field. Location is of type a pick list. So that let's go to that left panel, place that pick list field here. Now we are having that pick list field element. just a drag and drop on the object. It is providing the graphical user interface to provide the details about that field which you want to create right now. I'm giving that field as the location and then specify that values which you want to populate inside that pick list field. I'm providing the location values like as Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai, Pune, Mumbai, Delhi, Noida, some Kochi. So now these are the various values I would like to populate inside this pick list field. And along with that, I want to sort these values in the alphabetical order. While displaying these elements, don't display the elements in the same order which I have entered. Please display these elements by sorting in alphabetical order. So that I'm selecting sort values alphabetically. Now click on save. So now here we have created this object here, and along with that the fields we have created. Now, so this is the way we can able to create the object by using schema builder. Now let's see. So now we have observed one point here. Whenever you are creating the object by using the schema builder, it won't provide any option to select the checkbox to create the object by default at the time of creation of an object. Object will be created for you, table will be created for you, but it won't provide any tab to manage those records. So that we have to create the tab manually. Okay, we have to create the tab manually. Now let's make a note of it here. Upon creating an object using schema builder, it will provide the table based on the specified name but it won't provide the tab for the object. So that what needs to be done? We need to create the tab for the object manually. We have to create the tab for the object manually. Now, let's see. I want to create the tab for that object here so that I can able to manage the records inside this. Now let's go to your standard navigation. Go to the left panel, click on the build menu, click on create, and then click on tabs. Click on tabs. So now as of now we have created the tabs for two objects. One is for the customer, second one is the my position. Now I want to create a tab for my new object that is called as hiring manager. Click on new button to create a new tab. Already we have discussed about that. Select the object for which you want to create the tab. Already we have discussed an object can have only one tab, not multiple. Nothing but between objects and tabs we are having one-to-one association. So that it is providing that only those object names inside the pick list which has been created but which are not having the tabs. Now, just now we have created the hiring manager object. The table has been designed, but the Salesforce is not providing any tab for this object because whenever you are defining the object by using schema builder, it won't provide any tab for the object. Now let's select that object and then select the tab style which you want to apply for this object now. I'm selecting the tab style. Okay, I'm selecting the tab style. Now this is nothing but the hiring manager. Hiring manager means some people who are going to be taking care of recruiting the candidates for the positions which we have in our organization. So that I'm selecting some style like as some people. Okay, we are having a tab style called as people, which is giving the people symbol to us. I'm selecting this tab style. Go to the next. Make this tab to be get visible to you for all the profile users by default. Go to the next. Make this tab to be get visible in each and every application which we have in our Salesforce, and then make it save. You are aware of this navigation here. Now, the tab has been created right now with the name hiring managers. Now we can able to see those fields also. When you click on tab, it is providing the graphical user interface. Click on new button, observe what will happen now. When you click on new button, it is providing the fields. What fields it has provided? Hiring manager name, contact number, email ID. Then where is my location field? I have created the location field also. Now let's see. Now I have created that location field also inside this. Now this is a location field. But here, this is not a mandatory field. I haven't made this field as a mandatory. Now what we have observed by using schema builder, when coming to the schema builder, whenever you are creating some field, if that field you have made it as mandatory, then only that field will be visible to you on the page layout by default. If the field is not a mandatory field, if it is an optional field, then field will be created, but that field will not be placing onto the layout by default. So at that time, we have to go to that page layout customization and add that field onto the layout, and we have to make those changes to be get saved. Now this is the second observation that we have done. Now let's make this one, the second note point. When we added a new field in the object by using schema builder, it will add the field on the layout. When the user made the field mandatory by using required checkbox. If the user did not select the required checkbox, then field will be created, but it will not be added to the page layout. We need to add the field to the page layout by using page layout editor. So this is the second observation that we have done by using that schema builder. Now let's go to your Salesforce instance. Now it is providing the two fields to you by default, which we have created as a custom. Like as contact number is my custom field, email ID is also my custom field. While creating this field, we have made it as mandatory so that these fields are visible to you on the layout by default. But at the time of creating this object, I have created one more field also that is called as the location field. But I haven't selected the required checkbox because I don't want to make that field as mandatory. That is an optional field. You may enter the value, you may not enter the value for that field. So now at that time, whenever you are creating that field by using the schema builder, if the field is not a mandatory field, then that field cannot be added onto the layout by default. We have to go to that page layout, add that field onto the layout manually. Now let's see here. Let's go to that page layout editor by using that page layout option given by the Salesforce. Go to the page layouts section. By default, Salesforce is providing a page layout for each and every object. Click on edit button in order to modify that page layout editor. You will be having all the fields are available which you have created on this object. Now few fields are placed on the layout and one field, location field, is not placed on the layout here. Now the field is available on this editor, but it is not available on the layout. Now I want to place this field on the layout here. I'm placing this field. Wherever you want, you can able to place it. I'm placing this field, hiring manager, and the location, contact number, and the email ID, and the owner field. I want to display this section in both the layout so that I'm selecting that edit page and the detail page both. And I want to show that system information section on both the layouts. For that, I'm selecting detail page and the edit page. If you want to customize the activities, then we can able to customize. I don't want open activities. I don't want activity history. Just I want notes and attachments here. So that I'm placing only this related list onto my object layout. Now let's save these changes. Now we have made the changes now. Let's go to that user interface, refresh the user interface now. Now you are getting this field, hiring manager and the location field, which is populating all the values, contact number and the email ID. Now these fields are available on my object here. Now let's come to your schema builder now. So now here I'm having that hiring manager object. And along with that, I'm having our own custom objects are also there. Like as customer is one of our custom object, and then position is also one of our custom object. I want to show that position object also onto this layout. I'm selecting position object. Select the checkbox, and then automatically the object will be getting visible to you. Now these two objects are available onto my canvas right now here. These two objects are associated. No, these two are independent right now because there is no association between these two objects right now. These two are independent objects here. Now it is providing the field labels. Sometimes I want to show that field API name. Then how can we show the API names instead of this displaying this field name? You will be having this view options here. When you expand that, it will be giving that information called as display element names. Okay, display element names. When you click on that, it is providing the field API names instead of the field names. Instead of field labels, it is providing the field API names to you, like as hiring underscore manager underscore C, position underscore C, close date underscore C, and then open date underscore C. Like that, it is providing that field API names to you. If you want to see that field labels, then you can able to see that field labels also. It depends upon your need. We can able to specify that based on your convenience. So now between these two objects, there is no association is available here. Then how can we map the association between the two objects? Now we will see practically here. Now, let's take a general scenario here. Suppose, for example, I'm having that object. It may be one, it may be multiple objects. Then what exactly the association? What exactly the relationship between the two objects here? Why we have to map the association between the two objects and how to map the association? From where to where we have to map the association? What is the need of mapping the association between the two objects here? Why can't we store all the data inside a single object? Can't we store the data in a single object? Anyone?
For normalization and data normalization and consistency.
Okay. Now, so now whenever if you're storing the data inside a single object, for example, I'm creating a table right now. This is my table. So now this table is some employee table where I want to store some employees information. So this is some employee table where I want to store some employees information inside my table. In order to store that employee details like as employee ID, name, salary, everything. I would like to use this table, so that I have divided this table into the various columns. In each column, we can able to store some specific values. Like I am adding a column here to store that employee ID. I'm adding one more column to store that employee name. And I'm adding one more column to store the salary value of the employee. I'm adding one more column to store his address, nothing but the contact number. I'm adding one more column to store his gender value. I'm adding one more column to store his age value. Like that, we are adding some columns. So now I am adding so many columns inside my table so that I can able to store some data about my employees. So now let's say these are the various columns that I have. Employee ID, and then employee name, and I'm storing that some salary value, and phone number, and the gender, and the age. Like that, I'm entering so many values here. So many columns I'm creating right now. These are the various columns are available here. So now inside my table, I have specified few columns information. Now in my table, I'm going to be storing some data as well. Okay, I'm storing some data. Like as along with that, we can able to store the data like let's take a few more columns inside this table now. Now I'm adding these columns also. This is like some city. This is some state, and this is some country. This is some country value. So these are the various columns available inside my table. So now I'm storing some records inside this. Okay, I'm storing some records inside this. Like for example, I'm storing some records inside this table. Employee ID is some 1001. Employee name is some Ramesh. Salary is some 45,000. And his phone number is some value. Gender is male. Age is some 31. And he is associated with some Hyderabad. And the Hyderabad is associated with some Telangana state. It is associated with some India country. It is associated with that India. I have entered this record, the second record here. 1002 is some Pavan. His salary is some 18,000. Phone number, I have entered some value. He is also male. The age is some 27. He is also from Hyderabad. He is also associated with some Telangana state. He is also associated with the country India. And then we are having one more employee, 1003, some Suresh. His salary is some 10,000. The phone number, some value. He is also male. His age is some 24. He is from Bangalore. And the state is some Telangana. Sorry, state is some Karnataka. and the country is some India. 1004, see some Swati, salary some 21,000. The contact number, she is female, the age is some 29, and then she is from Hyderabad and associated to Telangana, and the country is from India. Like that, I'm having so many number of records are available here. Okay, I'm having so many number of records are available inside my table here. So now if I'm storing the whole data inside the table, then what is the problem? Why we have to go for the associations?
So here is the thing, right? Like, it becomes too difficult to manage, first of all.
Okay.
So if say, for example, here you have the city, state, and country, right?
Yes.
So all of that are address attributes. So we can have an address table just to store that, and you can have an association from here to there.
Okay, correct.
Or like you have all these employee names, right? Say one of them is reporting to the other. Both of them are employees. To show that relationship, maybe you need another place to show how they are related, because it will be repetitive if you put that information.
Yes.
No, it's redundant data also. Hyderabad, Telangana, that India, and all those are redundant data. To avoid that, you can create a separate table and map it.
Okay, correct. Now let's see here. So now I'm storing the whole details about my employees inside a single table. Like as employee ID, name, salary, designation, his past experience details, his education details, his contact details, and user IDs and password, everything I'm storing inside a single table. If I'm storing all the details inside a single table, it is occupying more columns. Okay, it is occupying more columns. So now, whenever you are creating a table, now let me know, do we have any restriction to provide the number of columns inside a table, or can we add n number of columns inside a table?
There is 1040 or something, right? There
Yes.
is
Now, whenever you are going to be creating the fields inside a particular table, nothing but columns inside a table, we are having some limitations. So now when coming to a table in our normal databases, okay, in our normal databases, the first point is a table can have maximum of 1024 columns inside this, not more than that. But whenever I'm storing some data, then as of now, I have occupied some 1,000 columns here. Keep on, I'm going to be extending my functionality. So at that time, we are going to be adding some more columns inside my employee table. But at a certain point of time, we may be reaching to the maximum number of columns, like as 1024 columns. But still, I want 2 more columns to store some more data. So at that time, we cannot able to create those 2 more columns because already we have reached to the maximum limitation of that database. Whenever you are trying to be creating the 1025th column, database won't support. The database won't support because it is having that limitation. So now, this is the first problem we are facing if you are maintaining the whole data inside a single object. Because here, each and every table will be having some limited number of columns that the table can have maximum of 1024 columns, not more than that. But at a certain point of time, you may be reaching to that 1024 columns so that we cannot add any more columns inside the table so that we cannot store some more data. That is the first problem. And the second problem here. Whenever you are storing the data for the multiple employees, in some places we have identified some common data here. Like as we have identified some common information. Like as the city value, state value, and the country value. Now assume that in my Hyderabad Development Center, I'm having some 25,000 employees are working here. All the 25,000 employee records will be mentioning inside the same employee table here. For all these 25,000 people, the city value is Hyderabad, state is Telangana, country is India. Nothing but what happened, the same values has been keep on repeating inside my object. inside my table. Now this is a city value Hyderabad and the state is Telangana and the country is India will be populating, will be repeating 2 to 25,000 times. Nothing but the same data we have stored multiple times. Multiple copies of the same data is available. Even though it may be same data, it may be the different data, database will allocate some memory to store the data. That's it. It won't bother about whether it is the same data or it is a different data. So now the second problem what we have identified is, in my table I'm having some repeated information, nothing but we're having the redundancy is available. Nothing but duplicate data is available inside my table here. This is the second problem. The second problem is it causes the redundancy issues. It causes the redundancy issues. And the third one. So now whenever you are having some thousands of columns inside a single table, if you want to manage that record, like as creating a record, modifying the record, at that time, it will be very, very difficult to manage the records if the table is having more number of columns. It is a third problem here. Nothing but managing the records is too difficult. Okay, managing the records is too difficult here. And now these are the various problems the customers are going to facing if they're maintaining the data in a single table itself. So now to avoid this problem, they have introduced a feature called as normalization. So now if I'm storing the data inside a single table, then I'm facing so many problems that I may be reaching to the maximum number of column at a certain point of time, so that we cannot go ahead. We cannot add one more column inside the table because database won't support. The second problem is the redundancy problem. The same data has been repeated multiple times, which is occupying more memory, which is going to be degrading my database performance. So for that here, I don't want to store the duplicate data. I want to make my data as generic. It should be having only one format. It should not repeat the same data again and again and again. And then the third problem, if you are holding all the details inside a single table, managing the data is very, very difficult. So for that here, they have introduced a feature called as normalization process. What exactly the normalization here? Normalization means instead of storing the data inside a single table, we can split the data into the multiple tables here. Okay, we can split the data into the multiple tables so that we can avoid these problems. We can avoid the redundancy problems. We can manage the data very, very easily. So we can manage the data very, very easily here. Suppose, for example, here, assume that come to our general scenario. So now every day we're having some breakfast, we're having some the dinner and the lunch in our house. So now whatever the items that you want, you can get all the items and then you can place into your plate itself. Now all the items are available inside my plate. Now can I able to have all the items at a time? No. We have to divide this into the various small pieces. We have to take each and every item and we can have it. So nothing but what happened, if the data is available in the small pieces, then it will be very easy to manage that. So that here we are going to be dividing the data into the various small tables. Then how can we divide this data here? For that, they have provided a feature called as normalization feature. When coming to the normalization, what exactly the normalization here? Normalization means the non-loss decomposition of data into different tables. Non-loss decomposition of data into different tables. Nothing but instead of storing the data inside a table, single table, we can divide the data into the multiple tables. But please make sure that whenever you are dividing the data into the multiple tables, then data should not be lost. Because data is asset for the company, data is asset for the organization, so that data should not be lost. So now without losing the data, we have to segregate the data into the various tables. Then how can we segregate the data from one table to multiple tables without any data loss? So for that here, they have introduced the various rules. Those are called as the normal forms. They have introduced the features called as normal forms. So now when coming to the normal forms are going to be describing the various rules which needs to be get followed upon dividing the data into the various small tables. Instead of storing the data inside a single table, we can split the data into the multiple tables. At that time, we have to follow certain rules that has been defined by the database people, that is called as normal forms, where we are having the different normal forms. First normal form, second normal form, third normal form, boys card normal form, fourth normal form, fifth normal form, giant key normal form. Like that, we're having so many normal forms are available. So many rules have been defined by the Dr. E.F. card as part of the database management system. So now we have to follow these rules. Based on these rules only, we can able to divide the data into the various small tables, and we can able to move the data without any data loss. But whenever you are developing some applications, it may be Java or .NET. So now upon designing the database, each and every database should be in the minimum in the third normal form. This is a fundamental rule. This is the standard that we are following in the organization. So now each and every real-time applications database should be minimum in third normal form. And we are having some data warehousing tools are there. Each data warehousing tool should be minimum in fifth normal form. What are the data warehousing tools that we have, like as business objects, Cognos, data stage, Teradata, Informatica Cloud. Like that, we are having so many data warehousing tools are there by which we can able to manage some millions and millions of records. So now all those data warehousing tools should support minimum in fifth normal form. So now for that here, there are some certain standards are there which needs to be followed while designing the databases. Now, so now for example here, I'm going to be dividing my data into the two different tables here. Instead of storing the whole data into a single table, I want to make it segregate into two different tables here. Now then how can we divide this data here? Let's see. So now I want to divide this data separately here. Up to this part, I want to make it segregated. I want to make it segregated here. So now here I'm going to making segregated here. So now this is one table and this is another table here. Now two tables are available here. So now this is the table one, this is the table two. Then how can we map the association now? How to map the association between these two objects right now? Which one is the parent, which one is the child? So now at that time, whenever you are dividing the data into two different tables, then we have to identify which one is the parent, which one is the child. So now from these two, what is the parent, what is the child over here? So now for that here, I want to specify this employee table, nothing but employee details. Now this is the address details. Here is the address table. So now I want to provide the association between these two. Okay, I want to provide the association between these two objects here. Then how can we map the association here? How to map this association? From where to where we want to map this association? Now, so at that time, whenever if you want to map the association between the two tables, first of all, we have to identify which one is the parent, which one is the child. So now from this one, address details are there. Now, whenever if there is any employee, then only the address will be there for you. Okay, whenever you are having any employee, then only we will be having that address, or else we can able to have that address first, and then we can able to store that employee's information here. Now let me tell you. Now tell me. So which one is the parent? Which one is the child right now?
The employee is the parent and the address is the child.
Okay.
The employee is a parent and the address is a child.
Okay. Now, so now here we are going to be mapping that employee is the parent and the address is the child. So now this table employee is the parent now. This is the parent and this is the child table. So now whenever I'm mapping the association, from where to where we need to map the association here? From where to where we need to map the association? From parent to child or
Child to
from child to
parent.
parent. Whenever
Child to
you are
parent.
mapping the association, always we have to map the association from child to parent. Always we have to map the association from child to parent, not from parent to child. So now we should have the parent first, and then while creating the child, we can able to map the association between the child to parent. So now in order to map the association, then what we need? How can we map the association? If you want to map some association between the two objects, then compulsorily we should have a common column. Upon mapping the association between the two objects, compulsory a common field should be there. Suppose, for example, we are having a father and a son. Then how can we identify whether these two people are father or son? There are some similarities out there. Like as it may be the face cut, it may be the ears, eyes, nose, color. Like that, we are going to be having some similarities here. Nothing but some common things are there between the father and son by which we can identify this person is the son of so and so person. Like that here also, whenever you are mapping the association between the two objects, first of all, we have to provide a common field. By using that common field, we can able to map the association. In order to map the association, generally in the databases, we are using foreign key. Foreign key is nothing but what? Foreign key is nothing but a constraint, nothing but a condition which can be applied on a child table column, which is referencing the parent table primary key column. So now we are having that common column between the two tables here. Okay, we are having a common column between the two tables. So now we need to have a common column. Now that common column is acting as a bridge between these two objects so that we can able to map the data between these two. We can make the association between the data in these two. So now for that here we need to add an additional column over here. So now I'm adding a new additional column over here. This is the additional column I would like to add. I'm adding an additional column inside this. So now this column name is the employee ID. Because here between the two objects, we should have some common similarities so that here upon storing that city values, I can able to store some employee ID also. Okay, employee ID. So nothing but what happened, we are having the association between these two objects right now. So now whenever you are trying to be creating this address record, it will be having that ID of that, nothing but to which employee this record has to be get associated. So further between these two, we are going to be having that association. Okay, we are having that association. Now, in order to map the association between the two objects, we have to use a common column. Nothing but a common field should be there. That common field will be available always on that child table, not on the parent table. Whenever you are creating a child record, always that common value will be referencing that parent table primary key column. Nothing but the employee ID column will be getting referred automatically by default. So now in this kind of scenario, mapping the association between the objects means what? Mapping the association between the records exist inside those objects. Now, let's see how can we map this association between the Salesforce objects here. Now, by using relationships, we can map the association between the objects in Salesforce. Between the objects in Salesforce. Mapping association between the object means mapping association between the records exist inside the object. Between the records exist inside the objects here. We are mapping the association between the records inside the objects. So now whenever if you want to map the association, then what we need, we have to create a common column. We have to create a common column which will refer the parent table primary key column. Primary key column. So now here, then how can we create this common column here? In order to create that common column, Salesforce is providing two types of fields to you. Yes, Salesforce is providing two types of fields to you. Now let's see. Salesforce provides the below types of associations. Below types of associations in Salesforce. So now what are the various association types given by the Salesforce to you? One is lookup relationship. Second one is the master detail association or the master detail relationship. And the third one is many to many relationship. And the fourth one is external lookup relationship. And the fifth one is hierarchical relationship. These are the various types of associations are available in Salesforce right now. We can have the lookup association, master detail association, many to many, external lookup association, and the hierarchical relationship. So now, sometimes in the entry point of view, you will be getting a question called as hierarchical relationship. Hierarchical relationship can be applicable only for user object in Salesforce. This will be applicable for only that user object in Salesforce. Now, so now when coming to the relationships, in the entry point of view, definitely will be having the multiple questions on this relationships concept. Difference between lookup and master detail. How many lookup relationships can we create? How many master detail relationships can we create? How to map many to many association? Now, so what will be the hierarchical relationship? How to map that hierarchical relationship? These are some common questions are there when coming to the entry point of view on this relationships features. So now what exactly the relationship? Yeah, tell me.
Is there a one-to-one relationship available in Salesforce?
Yeah, we can map that. I will tell you how to map that one-to-one association.
No, is that a type here you have
No.
specified?
In that type, we don't have that one-to-one. By default, each and every association will provide the one-to-many association. Then converting to one-to-one, it's up to us. Depends upon our requirement. We will see practically how to map one-to-one association.
Okay.
Okay, now. So now these are the various types of relationships are available in Salesforce right now. So now we have to create a relationship between the two objects, and then we can able to observe the various functionalities inside that. So now what exactly is association and how to map this association here? In order to map the association between the two objects, we have to create a common field. Okay, we have to create a common field. Then what is that common field here? Now we'll see. Upon mapping the association among the two objects, we have to create a common field in child object which reference the parent object primary key field. Primary key field. Okay, primary key field. In each object, Salesforce provides a primary key field called as ID. ID is a primary key field. Primary key means what? Primary key is nothing but a constraint which can be applied on a column which does not allow the duplicate values, which does not allow the null values. inside that column. So now in each and every record, whenever you are creating a new record inside that Salesforce object, it will be creating a ID for that record. Even though it may be any object, it may be standard object, it may be custom object. For each and every object, ID column is available by default. That ID column will be the primary key column in every object by default. That's what here, that ID value will be generated by the Salesforce, where for each record, Salesforce will generate a unique ID value here. It won't generate the same ID value for the multiple records. For each account, for each record inside that table, it generates a different unique identification number. So now that field is a mandatory field always. Nothing but that value will be generating by the Salesforce itself. No need to enter the value inside that field. That value will be getting generated by the Salesforce itself by default. So now for that here, whenever you are mapping the association, generally in our normal databases, we are specifying that the syntax here. In our normal databases, how can we specify the syntax? I'm creating a column inside that child table here. In that child table, I'm creating a column. Like as while creating that child table, create a table like as some child table. Inside that, I'm specifying the various columns inside this. I'm specifying that columns here. Like as the column name, and then you have to specify the data type and the constraint. So this is the syntax we have to use. Now in this syntax, I'm going to be having that syntax here. Now this is the column I want to reference with that parent table. So at that time, you have to specify the database, data type, and then references. We have to specify the parent table name. And inside that, we have to specify that primary key column. Okay, primary key column. So this is the syntax we have to specify. Nothing but what happened, whenever you are going to be creating a common column in the child table in our normal databases, while creating the child table, we have to specify that reference column. Nothing but what is the column that you want to you add as a common column inside the child table. What is the data type? And the references, nothing but whenever you are storing the data inside this particular column, which table it has to be get references. So specify that parent table name. In that parent table, we are having so many columns are there, then which column it has to get references. So now for that here, it is going to be identifying this syntax. Now here we are specifying the primary key column here. But now when coming to the database in Salesforce, no need to specify this syntaxes. Directly by using the graphical user interface, we can able to build this association, where at that time it is going to be using the ID column as the primary key column by default. So that whenever you are going to be mapping the association, it will be referencing the parent object's ID column by default. So that ID column is the primary key column in each table, and a table can have only one primary key column, not multiple. So that's what here, by default, it is going to be referencing that ID column of that particular parent table for the parent object. This is the standard functionality given by the Salesforce team. Now, upon creating a common column, upon creating the association in Salesforce objects, always it references the parent object ID column as the base. Always it will be referencing that parent object's ID column by default as the base by default. We cannot change this functionality. This is the standard feature given by the Salesforce team. Now, in order to create these relationships, Salesforce is providing the three types of fields to you. We have to use the below field types to map the association. among the objects. The first one is we have to use lookup relationship field, and the second one is external lookup relationship field, and the third one is master detail relationship field. Okay, master detail relationship field. So these are the three fields are available. Some time back we are having only lookup and master detail, but recently since 1 year they have introduced that external lookup relationship field also. So nowadays in the entry point of view they will be raising a question: how many types of lookup relationships are available in our Salesforce? We have two types are there. One is the lookup relationship. Second one is the external object lookup relationship. Okay, this is external object lookup relationship field. These are the two types of lookup relationship fields are available in Salesforce. And then after that you will be having what is the functionality of lookup relationship, what is the functionality of master detail relationship in Salesforce. This is a common question here. Okay. Now then, how to map the association between the two objects by using lookup and master detail, we'll see in tomorrow's session. In tomorrow's session, we'll be discussing how to map the lookup, how to map the master detail. What is the difference between these two? We'll see practically. Each and every observation will be making note of that. So now the tomorrow session is very, very important. We're discussing about this lookup and the master detail that will be most important for the entire admin and the development concepts. Then how to create this lookup association, how to map this master detail association, we'll see practically in tomorrow's session.